some of your videos, and I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, you know what? I like positive people, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just let him know that I think it's dope and that I think he's doing a wonderful job and everything.
So you appreciate it.
And another thing is, if you do a little bit like a more like lively things and like actually go out, like you can get like a GoPro and like go out and about and like just make new experiences and stuff like that. And like you seem like that type of person that like will want to go out there and just be like, hey, and like, you know, make friends with everybody, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes you have to put that wall, that barrier down, because some people, like, if you talk to them, they're like, oh, they might be shy or scared, or they might feel a certain way, or they're just socially awkward. Like, that's how it is nowadays. A lot of people are socially awkward.
Definitely, I agree with that. And one thing that yesterday on the video of that I was interviewing actually Elliot, we both spoke about that same concept right there. Is that why are people afraid? I'd say you are taught to be afraid. When you're born, you're absolutely, pure, you're innocent. You don't know this thing. There's an event that happens where from that event you develop this fear, and then you repress it and you don't get down to the bottom of it. It's going to be okay eventually or whatever. So they don't teach you how to get to it. So you're living your life and that's repressed. And each time a situation comes up where it, of course, in your head, this memory will pop up. You're afraid. You never got to the bottom of it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Because I mentioned as a kid, I was 4 or 5 years old. I'd go to the parties, all the kids playing around, and I went directly to senior citizens that was like 60, 70 or older. And I tell them, I tell them, tell me about life, and I'll just listen to them speak. And they were like, why are you always going to those grown folks? It's like, because I want to learn from them. And I was just never with the kids playing. Mm-hmm. And so I would go to school and I'd be all happy and I was like, hey guys, so I learned this and that. And that's where my fear started, because everybody rejected that and made fun of me. And so I'm just like, whoa, I thought this is good. This is some great information. And I just want to spread out.
Did you feel like you were a little bit like awkward or didn't fit in?
Always, yeah.
Because you know what, and it's so interesting that you say that, because sometimes like everybody does whatever they can to fit in. Like they'll dabble into drugs, they'll do this, they'll do that, because they think that the other kids or the other, as you get older, adults will think that you're cool if you're doing it. Mm. And I'm going to be very, very blunt with you. Sometimes you need to try that out, because let me tell you, on my end is like, I was very sheltered as a kid. My parents were just very old school, and they just wanted to have me in this little safe box. And I was the first kid, it's me, and I have 2 younger sisters. So they had me in this little safe box. And I've always been a little bit of a rebel child, not in a bad way, but just, having, wanting to go out, to travel, to do this and that. And so whenever I started getting older, I realized that by the time I hit 21, so I guess that's the age a lot of people can relate to. Yeah. 21 is when you're like, okay, you're going to college, you're doing this, you're doing that, and like you have all these goals, but then you hit this road block at 20, I guess 22, 23, where you're stuck. And you're stuck not in the sense of you're not going to do anything or whatever, but you're just figuring yourself out and figuring life out. Now, me being sheltered, there was a lot of things that I was very naive. Like, I was so naive. Like, I didn't know. I remember one time my boyfriend, like, he saw this lady walking and she was like scratching at her face. And I was like, oh my gosh, she has acne. He starts laughing at me and he's like, no, like, look deeper, like, pay attention. Like, she does meth. She's on meth. Because she has like these scabs, she's like jittery, she's scratching at herself. And me, I would have never assumed that, because I just assumed the best out of anybody. Like if I saw somebody, I'm like, oh, this person's a good person, like right off the bat. Because I was so sheltered, like I didn't get to experience that. So by the time I hit, so I'm going to be 24 this month. So my birthday's coming up. Yes, girl. It's coming up. So, but at this point in my life, when I'm turning 24, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm doing school, but then I'm figuring out what I want to do. And for me, it was a little bit of a roadblock because I had to give myself a period of a year from 22, 23 up to right now to really experience things, to go out, to see different crowds, to see the ugly. Sometimes you need to see the ugly to be like, okay, this is what this is. Because you can't go your whole life thinking that everything is like sugar plums and strawberries and stuff, because it's not. It's really ugly. Like it really is. But I think everybody should know that we're all in the same boat, and we're in the same journey to figuring who we are as people. And that's what you do in your 20s, from 20 to like 30 something. That's what you're going to be doing, and it's going to seem sometimes to some people that you're not going anywhere, that you might not fit in. I've never fit in. I'm a music geek. When I was in high school, I was just like, no, getting to what I needed to do. I did cosmetology because we did go to the same high school.
Yeah.
What cluster were you on?
Well, freshman year I started in graphic arts, but then after that I wasn't involved with anything, which I wish I was, but it doesn't matter because now it's the action time and I'm taking action.
And some people are like, it's okay if you don't even know what you want to do. Like, just try different things out. The thing is doing. Because if you just say, like I have a couple of projects myself coming up, but I haven't told a soul. And everybody's like, why don't you want to tell us? Come on. I'm like, no, because I'm trying this new thing where I don't say what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do it, you know? Just do it. Like, just do it. I'm so corny.
Sponsorship.
I'm so corny. Just do it. But no, I on the same spot. Like, I never fit in. So maybe it's just like our creative side. Like, some people have more of that creative side. I'm gonna tell you, I sucked at math. I failed like pretty much every like math test known to me since like 7th grade. I passed it junior year when we were in junior year. Because why? Because I cheated. I'm being blunt. Like, that's what I did. I cheated. I was always into like reading, writing, like music, like just doing creative things. In cosmetology, I learned how to be a business person. I did it because I love meeting people, talking to people, doing different things because I have ADD. And sometimes that's a bad thing because I'll jump from subject to subject. But I've learned how to deal with it on my own.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so cosmetology helped me with ADD because I would always be doing something different. You do different hair, a different head every day, different conversations. You learn so much about people. I'll have people that come in and they're like, I'm a pilot, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, really? And I asked like what, things about, their how do you keep a marriage? How do you do this? How do you, just ask them questions because you can learn so much from other people.
Yes.
And so that helped me business-wise because right now I have my own suite by Galleria Mall, North Dallas. So I pay rent and I rent the suite, but everything I make is my own because I don't like working for other people. And I realized that at 18.
Nice.
I'm like, I don't want to work for anybody, but it takes hard work to be able to branch off like that. Now that allowed me to have freedom to go to school, to do my music. And I'm a hustler. So like I would be, when I was in high school, this is what I was doing. I was not partying. I was like working at a hair salon, working, singing a gig with like a mariachi at night. Yeah. And then waking up, doing that, going to school again. Because I was like, no, I need a car. I need this. I need that. And that mindset has helped me so far. But then again, it comes back to, even though I was doing all these things, I still felt like I didn't fit in. Why didn't I fit in? Because maybe I was a little bit more on that creative mind, which I see I'm geeky sometimes. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a girly girl. I like beauty and stuff, and I fit in that little pocket, but everywhere else I'm too geeky. It's just what it is. Some people even think that because you have like a free-spirited personality that you might be like dumb or you might be ditzy and whatever. And that's not at all like what I think. I think it's just like your creative side. You're more laid back. You're more like, go with the flow, and so on and so forth. I've been at UNT for, this is my 5th year. Okay. Jesus Christ, I need to get out. So this is my 5th year UNT as a vocal performance major. So what that entitles is singing opera, which is not something that a lot of people like. It's a very
Hey, I practice in the shower when nobody's there. Nobody knows that side of me.
Well, that's good though. Maybe some people should know that side of you. They'd like you. I think so.
You know, I really haven't went into that side much, but when I do, it's like I love music. Always love music, and I got into all kinds of instruments. But voice-wise, the image or sound that I think my voice is going to be, I try it and they don't come out.
And it doesn't come out. You're like, whoop.
Like, oh, it sucks. But in when I intend opera, it's like, wait, am I onto something? Which I don't know, because I never recorded myself and then heard it, so I might have to do that.
Yeah, or you can dabble in taking voice lessons or just something, so you can see what you're good at. If you don't try it, how
yeah,
do you know?
And that's actually what I'm currently doing, trying to, for one, get as much as I can to learn, because before it was always trying to fit in, because ever since I tried to be myself, nobody accepted myself. Exactly. And as a younger kid, I then sought validation. I sought, accept me, because I'm that loner, and I was always into music. Like I said, I was in band. I played
what
flute.
Genres?
I started in concert band in the 5th grade. Then I played the flute. Then when I went to high school, then I picked up the piano a bit, then the guitar, and this and that. But it was always just me showing the folks what I was about. And everybody was all into drugs, like in elementary. When people rejected me, they were all getting into drugs and stuff, smoking weed in the restroom. They were 5th grade, 6th grade, yeah.
Oh my god!
And
but you grew up in Pleasant Grove.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And
Hood 101. It's okay, because when I was over there, I just I didn't really know what was going on, because I told you I was sheltered, and I was like a little how do I say this, it just goes back to me being naive. I just didn't know. I never smoked weed. See, the first time I ever did anything with weed, we're safe and everything, whatever. Anything with weed was my boyfriend for New Year's 2 years ago made some weed brownies and cookies, and he was just like, here, I made some weed brownies and cookies. I'm like, what the heck? I had never even heard of that, you know what I mean? Just how stupid I felt whenever he told me, oh yeah, you could do this, you could make brownies and stuff. I'm like, oh, edibles. So I went ahead and I tried a cookie, and I didn't know that it takes a little while for it to hit you. Okay, so I was like, this isn't working for me. After 5 minutes, I'm like, this isn't working for me, give me another one. I took 2, and then by the time I think it was like an hour before New Year's, we were sitting there, and then my family thought that I was drinking too much champagne or something, because I just sat down in my chair like, yeah, because I was gone. I was so gone, and then time was just going by so slow. I couldn't grab things, and that was my first experience with weed. And I was already see, I'm 24, since it was 2 years ago, so I was already at a point where girl, you haven't tried weed. You know what I mean? So, but no, I understand. I completely understand. I didn't fit in, and it was the hood, and I was not hood. I was very sheltered.
For the people who don't know how hood it was,
well, it wasn't nothing. It wasn't too extreme. It wasn't because I understand some places, I may sound so retarded saying that, I don't want to offend anybody, but I know there's some places where that's just the way of living and what you do to survive and everything. But for me, because I was a sheltered person because of where I live, to me that was oh my god, this is so good.
Well, the senior pranks were hilarious, and you would have the security guard rolling dice in the halls with the students and
checking your pockets, your bags, the metal detectors, and
there was just so much stuff that went on. They had the chicken fight for the senior prank.
I don't even remember that.
So I don't know what year it was. I think it was 2012 or something.
A lot of high school for me was a blur, because I was I had to focus. Yeah. And I wish I could have enjoyed it a little more, but to be honest with you, have you ever, okay, this is gonna sound so weird, but have you ever been I'm such a social person, and I like people, but I hate people at the same time?
Yeah.
That's how I am. I deal with people every day. Sometimes I'm oh, I love people, I want to hang out, I want to do. Sometimes I'm just I hate them. I just hate them.
But that hate part, where's it coming from? Because I could tell you where my part's coming from. My part is coming from, I'd like everybody to be as open as I am and just speak, as a human, just like, hey, don't just say what's up. Like I was speaking with my business partner yesterday. It's like, what brought you here? What are you into? Like, I want to know about you, and other folks, they just, can have zero conversations at all. And that's what I hate. It's like, I just want to speak with you. And you're like dissing me and all this stuff. It's just like, man, I hate that.
Or they'll put up a front of what they think that you want to hear. Like the person that it's
like, oh, I think this is going to be cool, so I'm going to say this. And see, that you brought that up. There's so many folks that do that, and they're not coming from the being. And that's why they always get stuck or whatnot, because for one, they're in the future, they're anxious. I like to say, if you're anxious, you're not in the now. You're playing something in your head that's in the future that you may or not have control of. Mm-hmm. And the same with the past. If you're angry or depressed, you're playing a movie of something that happened in the past. Mm-hmm. And so you'll never have that 100% you in the being, and stuff would never come out as soon as you want it to.
For me, that has a little bit to do with what it means to me, or that, hate is such a strong word, but if we just want to be blunt, everybody thinks that, so I'm just going to say what everybody's thinking. For me, what it is sometimes I need some time to be on my own and gather my thoughts, because I feel like sometimes everybody else, whenever they're around me, they're just too focused on their phones or what they think they should be or what they think they should be doing. And that angers me a little bit. Sometimes you're with somebody and you want them to pay attention and sit down and listen to what you have to say, but everybody's on their phone and oh, look at me on Snapchat, on Instagram, this life or whatever. It's no, just take a moment to actually enjoy it. You know what I mean? I've been with people where we're not really enjoying it because everybody's just pretending or showing the camera,
creating their own reality.
Yeah, creating your own reality, and that's too much self-love. That's a little too much. And we can't be selfish all the time. There's times that you should be selfish.
No, I learned that being selfish at times is actually very healthy.
At times, like you said, there's a key word. There always has to be a balance in your life, which is having to balance your personal life, your business or school, work, whatever, and just be yourself at the same time that you're balancing that out. You don't have to be a different person when you're at work and a different person when you're, at home. You can be yourself, but just learn how to balance who you are, what you're doing. It's just everything is a balance.
Because it's funny because that's me. At work right now, like you said, I don't want to be employed by anybody. No. My circumstances got me there. I was self-employed, but because I lacked wisdom. There were certain things that my grandparents didn't teach my parents. My parents didn't happen to learn more, and they taught me what they knew. And there's just stuff that I was lacking, especially in here in the United States and all this other stuff. So pretty much I got myself in some trouble because I didn't know how to deal with my emotions and stuff, and nobody taught me. So as a kid, I grew up, I repressed all this stuff, and I used drinking as a getaway. And, I got pulled over, I got into all that BS, but I'm actually very, very thankful for that because that really was a starting point to opening my eyes of you don't
need to be high, you don't need to be drunk to do something or to really commit to something.
And what is so awesome is that now, there's a speech I'm working on called Child of Heart, and I'm very fond of going back in your subconscious and knowing who that little kid was, because you were drawn to so many things at that young age. Nobody told you. You were drawn by your own self. So that's you. So whatever habits or whatever was done back then, that's the real you.
So your environment and everything has shaped you, but you sometimes, in order to get, so what he's trying to say is when you're trying to get over something or conquer a fear or something, you have to literally go back and put yourself in that spot wherever that fear started.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I get
it. And so, and also, I feel that for me, that was the key to being happy, because I was very unhappy growing up, and that was my reality. But then like you said, around 20. Right now I'm 23. So the past couple 2-3 years, I was my head was a mess. I was like, who am I? I don't know who I am. What am I supposed to do? It was just like a big question. And so
that's the stump I told you, the little stump we all go through.
And me, by being that child of heart again, by going back and like analyzing myself, am I now finding the happiness because I'm being myself, the real me, which was as a very young kid. I remember, for one, I'd always wanted to learn. So that was pre-K. I was super small. I always wanted to learn, and I stopped that. Another thing was I always wanted to speak to people. I always had curiosity for knowledge. I stopped that as well, and so I'm now doing it. And so I would always set goals too. Learn the certain things, achieve that goal, and then say, what's next? And I also stopped that. I remember being in the 5th grade, looking out the window. We were doing vocabulary. I zoned out. And I had a little daydream. When I grew up, I'm going to have long hair. I'm going to be in the band. I'm going to, play guitar, all that. I'm going to travel a lot of places. I'm going to hack computers. Just so many things. And it wasn't until 2013 when I was at tech school that I just get shivers because I zoned out again after a test. And boom. I done had long hair. I done learned how to play guitar, had a band, played a mini tour in San Felipe, Mexico. I did so much traveling.
So you still do music?
Yeah, I've been. It was on, but once that first band, broke apart, it shattered my dream, and then I stopped. But now I'm getting back in it because there's a reason. There was a reason I was drawn to it at a very young age. Why am I stopping?
What it is like, maybe you just got afraid.
Yeah, it was fear. Yeah, it was that fear.
And that is such. Okay, I think that is what should be our point for today. That everybody has a fear of failing, a fear of being stuck in that slump, or being able to tough it out because they're like, oh my God, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna be this person that I wanted to be. And sometimes you just have to fail. You just have to fall down, fail flat on your face, and then get up again.
See, and that right there, that failure, that's a resource. That's information that you're picking up, that you're learning. And see, by taking action, if that does happen, boom, you're getting this feedback that other folks that don't take action are not getting.
Exactly.
So you're already a step ahead. Don't see it as I fucked up, blah, blah, blah. No. Analyze that. Learn from it. Implement it. You're already steps ahead because folks, they're in the fucking house. They're not taking action or whatever, and they're not getting that feedback. So whenever they start, they're going to mess up. But guess what? You're already up here. Think about it that way. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. And like I said, going back with folks, let's talk as a human. I want to know what's in your head, in your mind, because we don't do that. We don't do that. Facebook, all this social media stuff's amazing, and like a song says, everybody's connected, but no one's connecting.
You know what? That. Okay, I am so bad at social media. Okay. I have a Facebook and everything, but I am so bad at keeping up with it because I'm always actually doing things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I honestly, this is gonna sound so diva of me, but I'm I wish I could hire somebody just to sit there and manage my my Facebook or my account. Be Edgardo, please do.
No, definitely.
Something like that. Just manage my account or something. Because I just sometimes I'm or I'll be having fun and having really cool experiences, and I'm I should put this on social media. But then I'm I get too lazy and I'm let's just keep having fun. And then sometimes it's good to record those moments because right now, what you're doing, simple as can be with your camera, with a mic and just talking about, even if it's random stuff, some things is what people talk about whenever they're, at a get together or whatever. And you just have to, talk about it, and maybe you can create something with that, go and have adventures. Yeah, it's not being afraid to actually go for it and do it. Me, I have no experience doing this or talking. I can talk all day, and I'll be myself. And that's not a problem. If I leave today, or the people that know me or that I still keep in touch with, from high school or from whatever, which are a select few. So I'm very selective of the people that I keep very close because I like people that are honest and that are themselves. If somebody isn't themselves, or they're wishy-washy, or they're just flip on you, or like there's just something about them that's not very loyal wise, I just tend to just keep them as acquaintances. And there's nothing
Never
wrong
burn
with
bridges.
acquaintance. Yeah, I don't burn bridges. Like I even keep in contact with people that, you know, I dated, you know, in the past or something. Like if they say hi to me one day, I will never have like a bad vibe, you know. Doesn't mean I talk to them on the daily, but I'll never have a bad vibe or be like, oh, I hated you or something. I've never hated somebody, even if people do something bad to you.
And
know?
that, yeah, I love that, because I'm actually in the process that I've been doing that. You know, the folks that I stopped with, or you know, I had a grudge, I, you know, went out, reached out to them. If they
I
just have
forgive
it, you know, and it really is, because once you do that, you're in yourself. You're like in a cage, and once you do that, your own self, you free yourself. It's just so amazing, and it's just that's like human. Which word could I put for that? It's just a trait that we should all have, and nobody practices that anymore. And you see, also, if you want to be successful, that having a little grudge or whatever is never going to help you, or talking bad about folks is never going to help you for success. So if your main goal is success, whatever it is, but involves around something more that what you're currently on, you do know you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to learn some different things, take action to get there. So that's a big action. If you know you want to get here, that's something that it's a must. So do it from your heart.
Doesn't mean you're gonna forget something that person did. Like you're gonna knowingly be like, I forgive you, I know what you did, I'm conscious of what you did, and it did hurt me, but I have already healed my little heart and forgiven you, so I'm moving on. And then you can go ahead and just go on about your life. You don't worry about that person anymore.
What I love that is when I get to the certain emotion, I'm a big fan of thinking that a memory, all it is, every single second is a moment in time. And once you have a strong emotion with a moment in time, it is stored in your mind as a memory. If there's no emotion there, you're not going to remember. But just think, every memory that you have, what was your emotion? I guarantee there's an emotion.
That's a cool concept. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, and so also with like, oh, I'm kind of, don't get brain fart. Oh, don't get brain fart. Oh, I'm going to get brain fart. But anyway, that's a concept that I use, and it's really, really
because most of us think like robots. Like, okay.
Yeah, robotic hearts and minds, it seems, yeah.
And sometimes you have to put your emotion out there. Some people are more expressive in the emotional department than others, but some aren't. My boyfriend and I, he is like so expressive. Like he will express what he's feeling, and he'll just say it. And sometimes it's hurtful. It's very hurtful, because you're like, but he's just saying the truth, or like, well, the truth to him, to how he feels. And me, like I said, back to me being, you know, with my parents, and you know, they're old school, so they really weren't very expressive. I think a lot of us have had instances where our parents are old school, and you know, they don't even really talk to you about sex. They just tell you don't do it, you know. So you're like, but why? And if I do it, then what? Like, what happens? So a lot of young adults, and even like some young teenagers, like they just go on and like they make mistakes because sometimes their parents didn't communicate that, or it just wasn't the norm to know, to be informed about that, or to be open in your emotions and expressive, you know, with your kids. And with me, it's like whenever I get mad, I tend to like hold it in. And I'm like, no, I need to be more expressive. I need to just let it out.
Yeah,
and it's something you work.
Stuff.
Yeah, and it's something you work day to day. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person if you can't like express emotions. It just means that later on, when something happens, you're gonna be like, but remember that one time that you did this a year ago? And no, you can't do that. Like, you should be over it by then. But then if you keep it inside, it's gonna bubble and then just explode. You know?
I like calling out the pain body. Is it Eckhart Tolle, I think, that he speaks about that? I'm not sure who it is, but I get no credit. But
yeah, like, we're not quoting, but
yeah, and it's different how it is, because whenever you get offended or something, boom, you're going back to that part in your subconscious, and because if you're conscious, you'll never want anything bad happen to you, right? But because of your habit, because everything you do in life is a habit, you're getting a certain results. So that right there, like when people speak, for example, like the law of attraction, they make it seem like it's all this whole magical thing. But there's actually, when you break it down, there's, everything, there's rules that goes to that. For example, like I said, like conscious, I was like, man, I want to get ripped. I get a gym membership, right? But in my mind, the whole having to get out of my comfort zone and not necessarily, actually do what I have to do, eat the right things, do the right amount of reps or whatever. I'll never get along the way. I never get my result, So, yeah, that's a big thing there.
Yeah, and back to the whole fear, which is one of the reasons that I liked your podcast idea. Was because you're actually saying what most of us are feeling, but we're not expressing. Because we're having this fear, like I'm pretty sure everybody that we have like on our social media or whatever that we know or that we may not know is going through something, whether it be a positive thing, it doesn't always have to be negative, whether it be a positive thing or a negative thing, everybody's going through something, or they might have a fear of something, and you just took the initiative to talk about it and to get over your fear, maybe of being in front of a camera or a mic or something like that. I sing, and whenever I get in front of a stage or in front of a mic, I still get nervous. Every single time, like I will get tingly, I will get nervous, and I'm like I'm gonna do this because I love doing this, and I really do, but I still get nervous. It's just a feeling, and you just have to do it to get over whatever that fear is. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, how can you get up in front of the stage and just sing? Like, I would get so nervous, I'd start sweating. I'm like, yeah, but you have to conquer your fears. Like, you really do. And this is a great opportunity for other people that we know or whatever to see somebody else expressing themselves. And that's what you're doing. Maybe you said that it was hard for you growing up to do that, but now I think it's like a good opportunity. And the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Yeah. And then you never know. Somebody might see it and they might be like, yo, this is dope. Like, you could do so much more than this. Da-da-da. Like, you could do all these other opportunities. For me, there's a lot of good friends that I have that are also trying to do good things. I have my friend George and my friend Rudy, like they do music, and props to them if they ever see me on this video. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of every single person that's actually trying to overcome their fears, trying to do things. And the fact that they're trying to do it with a positive intent and a positive mindset. Because you never want to be around a person that's like, yeah, I'm doing things, but they're like negative all the time. Yeah. And I feed off of people's energy. I don't know if that happens to you.
Dude, totally. I feel like once you open your mind, I like to say open your third eye. Once you get out of this whole egoistic thing, and you're more just aware of your own feelings and just the whole human nature, it totally is just like a rule. It's just like, you now evolved to this level, but guess what, you could say
I was Bulbasaur, but then I became
yeah, there's like positive or not necessarily negative, but there's how should I put it, I can't reward it, but in the sense of you now have to be aware that you are now gonna feed off them vibes now, because you're trying to go to a different direction, but guess what, it's just the way things work. Everything, I'm a huge believer in everything is energy. For example, you can hear me because my voice, the organs here is creating a frequency which is now getting to your ears. Like I hit the table, if there's a bottle of water, the water's now vibrating. If an opera singer sings a certain frequency, the glass breaks. Why? Because it's vibrated the same frequency as that glass. But once, let's say this is a portal where the sounds is, once the glass shatters and it's here, these vibrations are no longer here, and then it's solid again.
For those that know about music, it must be some really, really good overtones, because that is hard to do. But,
dude, talk about the octave, man.
Yeah, that's crazy though. No, and you know what? Like, feeding off people's vibes. So whenever you show up somewhere, I always take my wall down, like my guard up. I have a guard up and I take my wall down. My bad. When I meet somebody, I try to just show them warmth, because you don't expect somebody that you don't know, that you've never, seen at, like, even at Walmart or whatever, just somebody that you just met to come up to you and to just, you know, to just hug you or to just be like, hey, like to just be
it's like
so warm.
taboo now.
Yeah, to be so warm to you because everybody's like, don't touch me. And you know, and that's cool. That's cool sometimes. You know, sometimes we don't want to. We don't want that. We don't want. You know, you don't want to be the annoying, like, positive person that's like, oh my God, or whatever. Like, that's kind of creepy. But just being positive, your vibe, your demeanor, to show up somewhere and to be confident and to just be like, just open and warm. That just shows what type of person you are, you know, and people are going to feed off of that. Like, I can be in a room, and I have, like, experienced that so many times. There could be, like, 20 people in this room. I could be in the room, you know, and just show up, and everybody's feeding off my energy. Like, that's what it is. And it's nothing, like, to be, like, cocky about or anything, because anybody can do it. Anybody can give a positive vibe, walk in somewhere confident, and do that.
Totally.
You know?
I've still done that as well. And that's the thing that I started paying attention of, because I would think about big moments in time, and that would always happen. For some reason, in my mind, my reality was shit, but I seem to have that trait. That I would always the first one to get everybody dancing, the first one that things are just bogus. But once I'm there, I'm just smiling, I'm being myself. People are like, they even compliment me, man, dude, thanks for your smile. And they're just like, I have a circle around me, and I'm telling jokes, and everybody just ends up, their vibration just is now higher, and then they break off, and then next thing you know, the whole place is just up. And I was just like,
right. And see, anybody can do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Anybody can give off like a good vibe or be confident, especially my ladies out there. Like, be confident, whether it's, you know, in a relationship, whether it's, you know, in a friendship with your girlfriends or with guys, you know, whatever, at your job. Be confident. Don't ever let somebody, you know, knock off that good vibe that you give off, you know.
And would you do you have any certain way that you can and teach them how to get that? Because for a while, it's like if you tell somebody be happy, it's like a unicorn. It doesn't exist because they've been unhappy for such a long time. Yes, I do. I have I have remedies.
Okay, so all right. What I do, and I'm trying to put it on me because I know everybody's situation is different, so I hate it whenever people are like, you know, you're telling them what you're going through, and if they haven't been through it, they're like, I understand, you know, because they really don't. So what I do when somebody tells me something, I'm like, you know, I kind of understand, or I understand to an extent, or I see what you're saying, but I can only relate in this way, or I can only tell you this, because then that's the real answer. You know, if you like, I was gonna say, if you got raped by somebody, I wouldn't know. I've never been, you know, in that situation. And to that person, that might be a trauma, that might be, you know, something that really triggers an emotion or whatever. And I don't know what that feels like. I can say, oh, I've been in a situation where you know, somebody was, you know, trying to be too touchy with me or whatever, and I can see where that bothered me, so I wouldn't imagine how you would feel if somebody did that to you, you know, in that way, you know? And then that person can see, okay, she doesn't know what I'm talking about, but she's listening to me. Listening is key. Okay, so back to the topic about women empowerment, because I'm all about it, women empowerment and Beyonce and Riri, you know, but I think that it's good for you to take some time for you as a girl. Take some time to really take care of your appearance. And I know that sounds so superficial, but I have this client, she's 72 years old. Okay, she works, she's like, you know, she walks, she's like doing her thing, she comes, gets her hair done, and she looks great. You would never guess that she's 72. Okay,
you put that feminine vibe out there. I'm proud of it.
And I asked her, I'm like, well, what do you do to keep yourself looking, I didn't say looking young, I said looking so youthful. Okay, because sometimes it's what shines inside, you know, complemented by the outside. Okay, so I asked her, what do you do to keep yourself looking so youthful? And she's like, well, you know what? Never let yourself go. And I asked her, well, what do you mean never let yourself go? Yeah, just Take time to do your own thing, to be your own person, to embrace yourself being a woman, and if you're a man too, you know what I mean? Take the time to do your hair. Don't just give up on life. Don't give up on life that you just put it in a bun and you're just so depressed. Sometimes we do feel like that. There's days where I'm just like, this is bun day. That means girls know what I'm talking about. Bun day is the day that you don't wash your hair. Well, third day that you don't wash your hair or something, and you just put it up because you're like, nobody will be able to tell that my hair is dirty. That's what you do.
It's that oil.
Yeah, that's what you do. Or any guy with long hair knows what I'm talking about. So just take time for yourself. I listen to a lot of women empowerment songs. So I would turn up my Beyonce, and I'd be like listening, jamming out, and it'll get me in this vibe. Because to tell you the truth, music is a type of, it's gonna sound wrong, but it's a type of brainwashing. It's a type of, like, if you need a reset, sometimes you can listen to certain chords, certain melodies. It might be in a major key, which will automatically make you feel happy, for those of you that know about music. If you listen to a song that may be talking about a situation that you can relate to, that can help you get through a situation. If you listen to women empowerment songs, I feel that it gets you going and it makes you be like, yeah, girl, I don't need you. I could do it on my own,
At a red light, just
go. Just go. And then and that feels good. That feels good to feel like that, to feel a little cocky.
Own it, whatever I'm big on that. Like before, I always was worried about what people thought. No, if you want to smile, you gotta own it. Take that deep breath. Because honestly, when was the last time you took a deep breath? If it wasn't just out of sorrow or something, like just a good one. We almost never do that. At least for a long time I did.
That's true.
Just own it.
Just own it. Yeah. And another thing is, women empowerment. Listening to your women empowerment songs, taking care of your the way you look, the way you feel. Maybe go to the gym. I don't go to the gym to get skinnier. God, I'm already like super skinny. I go to the gym to be healthy, to help me with my singing, to help me, just feel good about myself. That's why I go to the gym, and that's what you should. You shouldn't do things for other people. Just do it for you, so that you can feel healthy and you can feel all right. And then when you feel good and you feel healthy, then there will be nothing wrong with you actually doing something for somebody else, But if you start off doing it for somebody else, that's the wrong reasons, Because some people say, oh, just do it. Yeah. Some people are like, just do it for you. But you're like, okay, I'm going to do it for me, but then what? Like, you have to share it with the world afterwards, your confidence, your good vibes. Go and share it with the world.
Like me, this growing process is for me, but the reason I'm putting it out there is because we can learn together. So there's any small content can help anyone.
That's very true.
Together is the thing. I'm learning. You can learn as well. You never know. We take stuff for granted so much.
Exactly.
And I'm a big fan of so many people say this, so I don't know who give credit to, but I'm afraid to take all my stuff in my head to the richest place on earth, which is the ground. Once you get buried in the cemetery, all that's there, because there's so many songs that never were produced, sung, so many ideas that were never put out there. It was always inside, because I love how everything is first a thought before it's in the physical. Our clothing, songs, materialistically, everything.
And side note, almost every, sorry to cut you off, but like what you're saying about there's things that haven't been put out there, and music and just like the way it is. Side note, most music that was made, people were on some type of substance, because sometimes they didn't know how to be when they were sober. And that's a big thing. Like, sometimes people have to pretend because they don't know how to be or how to live when they're sober. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes if you this is gonna sound so wrong, but it's like, okay. Sometimes people are like, oh, if I hit a little line of coke, I'm gonna get sparked up and like I'm gonna be able to like sing something. Whitney Houston, dude, like drugs, but that lady could sing. You know what I mean? And it's just like the spark of creativity. Just a whole bunch of artists that, like, I'm not saying like I don't want to put any names out there or whatever, but it's just sometimes they felt like they needed that to escape, or to be way more creative, to tap into that part of your brain that when sometimes you're sober, it just doesn't, you can't express it fully. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with it until it becomes obviously something that kills you or that, you know, gets out of hand. But just the fact that they try to tap into that part, you know, of their brain, which is what we try to do when we're sober. We're like, okay, this is hard.
See,
you know?
I love the fact that you brought that up, because I actually can relate that in you know, in a lot of ways. For example, now I'm getting better of just literally being high off life, but the way I do that is, of course, for one, not touching anything, you know, any other substance that could, you know, trigger the different state of you know, consciousness. But
if you get your little drink on, that was going to be my number 3 for the ladies. Sometimes you need to go out with your girls, have some drinks, get a little party wasted, and then, you know, go on about your day.
Yeah.
Well, go proceed.
So definitely, I really got better at that. And by that, it's just, as a child, I go back as a child, because all these things, there's a reason why I was drawn to them. There's a reason why I did those things. So the more I do that now, I get high off of it, because it just feels so right. It's like, is this me? I don't know. I ain't even going to argue, but all I know is that the sensation I feel is amazing. It's just, and that just gets me all this high. And I could be driving, and people.
And you're high off of life.
Yeah, and like people are with me, because like when I'm in my car, you know, I've been doing work to it, and when I'm on an interstate, it's something else. And if I got someone with me with their permission, you know, I'll turn it up a bit, you know, my driving, and so I have like instrumentals. And I'm just doing my thing, and people are just like, "How are you so calm right now?" And I'm just like,
"Do you karaoke with it?"
Like, no.
At the top of your
I play ambient music. It's just like,
well, that's dope though. Like sometimes you need that to kind of just.
Or if it's vocal, I've put Frank Sinatra, and they're like, "How are you doing all these things? You know, spinning and just drifting corners and stuff." Life. And you're just like, and I'm just like, I'm just in that zone. But anyways, when it comes to bringing the creativity side, we might need tools. When I was 18, most of everybody goes through the want to commit suicide stage. I don't know if you did, but I sure did. And for me, what I did before I tried any substances or whatnot, I started looking at folks that would practice like Buddhism or stuff like that, the whole meditation and practicing certain yoga and all that. And I got interested in the third eye. And I was like, what is the third eye? It's like, oh, we all have this? And so I started reading on that, and then I started taking steps to try to unleash that. So I would detox my pineal gland. It's a gland located, you know, towards the center, which that gland is like the basis to everything. But anyways, it get calcified by everything else. So I learned how to decalcify. I was listening to like 960 hertz, which stimulates it. So I'd put on my headphones, and those hertz right there was just decalcifying. I would do a little exercise. I would do exercise my own self. And once I started doing that, I automatically started feeling more human, and automatically was able to just pick up stuff, as in like, it's crazy. I see a red and a white car crash in my mind. I look over and it happened. I'm just like, whoa, I just tapped into something crazy. And so after 2 months of doing that I opened my third eye naturally before I even tried any other substance. So pretty much it was 2 a.m. I woke up, looked at the clock, and I was like, whoa. So I closed my eyes, worked on my breathing technique, and boom. What ended up happening was I'm in a pitch black dark room. I heard what was a train horn pass behind my head, behind my window, and I went to no longer being able to feel every single piece of my body to getting my forehead was magnetic, and it felt like a magnet. And then I felt like I was one being, and I was standing in front of it, and out of pitch black, because my eyes are closed, I see this white, very bright white light, and it's like kind of like sacred geometry, and it breaks out to like gray and then like and black. But I felt a state of loveness. I was like, whoa, this has to be frequency, because I was then hearing a frequency, one, you know, little pause. And I was like, whoa, what is this? It's like, is this God? And I knew I was physically tearing, because once my ego kicked in. I was like, whoa, what is this? This is so much love. I start breaking away, and then I felt tears running down my cheek, because then I felt sensitivity again, and then everything just started blurring. I was just like, whoa, what's this state I was in? But that was when I opened my third eyes. That's when I left this physical body, and I connected. I was then one with the universe, because I was vibrating at the same frequency as the creator, as everything. And so after that, then I was reading upon psychedelics, and I feel psilocybin, aka shrooms, it's a very, very great tool. So that tool right there helped me so much, because do know that was the time when I wanted to commit suicide. But then I was like, this is like my last chance. And once I opened my third eye, I was like, wait, I'm onto something. Then once I tried psilocybin, I reached the same state, but it was more and more intense. And I was like, whoa, I did this sober. Holy crap. And then I had all these other questions, and this is amazing. And then it broke me from that whole state, because I knew there was way more out there. And growing up in the ghetto where I grew up, I thought literally everybody was like, we're shit. Like, there's this attitude and stuff. And it wasn't until 2.5 years ago, literally, that I really start seeing that there's amazing folks out here. Like, I start branching myself out. I start coming like this area more to Starbucks, and I could literally just start conversation with folks, and I'm like, holy crap. And like in the hood, I can't see a girl and be like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm looking for this place, because they'll just give you so much BS, and it's just like, whoa, I'm just trying to ask for directions, you know what I'm saying? And I have that mentality. Everybody's like that, but it's not like that.
It's not. And I like the fact that you're speaking about, okay, it's a very touchy subject, because when people talk about religion or what they believe in or things like that, it always creates an argument. In my perspective, it's everybody should learn from everybody's beliefs. So if you're talking to me and you're telling me this is what I believe in, what I think, and I'm going to take some of what you're saying. I have my belief, obviously, and I'm sure and grounded of it. But if you tell me something, I'm like, you know what? I never looked at that this certain way, or the way he thinks about this, or his belief in this is actually helping me understand more of my belief. And you just have to learn how to shut up and listen to that person.
Glad we're going with it.
Just shut up and listen. And if you have something to say, you may not agree with it. You may be like, you know what, I don't agree with your third eye stuff or whatever. But you never want to disrespect that person, because you know what? Even what you just told me, like, I learned a little something off of it. Meditation. That's something sometimes that you have to do to clear your mind, because we have so many worldly things going on in our head. Like, I gotta go to work, I gotta do this, my schedule, this and that. And that's how we live. Like, we live for the world. And sometimes, so from what you just said, I may or may not, have the same belief, but I'm going to listen to you and take some of what you have just told me in. And that's what that's about, to be open and to learn how to listen.
Definitely. That there, you could have said, put it any other better way.
Like, another thing is, like, okay, like, whatever your religion is, like, sometimes I, like, I'm Catholic or whatever, but sometimes I'm like, oh, like, what's your sign? I always ask people, what's your sign? And, like, sometimes I think some of the things that the sign thingies say that they're true. Sometimes, like, you have a certain personality like that, like, and it's something to talk about. It's something when we in the beginning of time, like, people base their things off of like stars and astronomy and just the alignment of the sun and the planets and everything. So it's not something that it's not necessarily all a lie. And some of it is true, like, for example, what's your sign? Gemini? Yeah. Oh, Gemini.
Oh, okay.
Gemini.
So, yeah, go ahead and give me some more knowledge of that.
Of that, I don't really know, but I get along with Gemini. My birthday's in September 22nd. That's the last day of a Virgo, but I'm in a cusp sign, so I'm two signs, basically. I'm Virgo and Libra. That's why I have my fun side, which is my Libra, that I'm like, woo, and then I have my organized, like, there's the little dust bunny side of my Virgo side, and it kind of, it levels it out. It levels my personality out. Like, not everything is true. I don't base my entire life on like, oh my God, my sign is this, so I have to do this, because you make your own future. But it's fun to know some little fun tips here and there, especially we all like knowing things about ourselves. That's why people post things like, oh, I'm a Leo and I got, whatever, because everybody likes getting a little cocky on what their sign does, or knowing a little bit something about themselves that they already know that is there.
That's so interesting because, for example, like I did a personality test and I purchased a book. There's from the UK. They did 16 different personalities, and so as I'm reading mine, I'm just like, it's like they're spying on me. What the hell? And that's just like so crazy. It's like, whoa. So they did all this research that as I'm reading, I'm like, that's me. How did they know that? So that's crazy. I really like that. But one thing, kind of before we continue where we're not going, I want to touch upon on the whole religious thing.
Go ahead. Sorry if I go like up and down.
Oh no, that's how it is. This is why I love this. That's why I love this.
I'm not even kidding. It's a struggle. Sometimes I'm like this and that, and I will get distracted. I'm like a little puppy, like you're playing with it, and then a squirrel walks by, and I'm like, whoa. That's how I am. It's so bad that I compare myself to a dog.
I gave my name Spike off of the dog from Rugrats. So
oh my god.
So pretty much is like I like the whole that we are all one. The only thing that separates us is belief, egos, and fears. I like that. And that's why I say it, because literally people get fight because of religion. People, of course, the ego. You really got to learn how to deal with that. If not, it fuck you up. And of course, fears. It's like, let's go together. Let's just travel here. Let's do whatever the case may be. It's like, no, you don't want to step maybe over a crack just because of that. And it's just like, whoa. But in reality, that's the way I see it. We're all one. We really are. We're all skin and bones and stuff. Really, just belief, religion, and fears that separates us.
That's very true.
And I like thinking the fact that religion, if religion it would be a thing, it'd be love, because almost all religion talks about that unity and love and all these good stuff. So why not just be love, eliminate everything else, and don't fight.
That's true. And whenever there's like some people that are like, oh, like they say you're black, or that you're Mexican, you're brown, you're Asian, or whatever, like, what's your race? In questionnaires, what is your race? That always just like gets me mad, because I wish everybody could just be like, you know what, we're the human race. That's what
get
that
yourself
is.
behind an X-ray. You ain't going to be able to know if you're a certain way, all this. If you have it where you can't see the power, whatever, you don't know, your mass. You don't know what race. It's just skin and bones, my brother.
Yeah, and it's something that everybody should be comfortable with saying, because you can have somebody of a different ethnic background or a different cultural background and still connect with them in a human level. Like, if we didn't speak the same language, we could be talking with our hands or showing or whatever, and we can communicate.
Okay, what's your point of view of what I'm about to say? One thing that I so interesting to me that I find is I love being a human. For example, when a person could be born blind, right? And they could just tell them that, or even deaf, or both. Let's say blind and deaf, and somehow they know that they want something. They're automatically going to put their arms up like that. They never seen nobody do that, or nobody told them, hey, if you win, put your arms up. Why is it that in a human, if you know you won, you put your arms up like that? That's crazy. That blows my mind. It's like, whoa, there's something, we can go so deep into that. That's crazy. I really paid attention to that.
Well, I have no idea why that is, but I can say that sometimes it's good to do that. Beautiful. Yeah. To say I accomplished something, to just like jump up and actually show it, to show what you're feeling, and like how a situation, how a moment, how another person, how they made you feel. And if that's like saying like, yes, like I won, or like you're feeling competitive or whatever, like, yes, like that's expressing yourself. And some people, like we said earlier, people have a fear of expressing themselves, of going out there and showing people how they are. Like, if you're a goofy person, sometimes you might be scared that other people, like, they judge you or whatever, I told you I was sheltered. So there's sometimes that there will be jokes that some of my friends say, or you know, some of my boyfriend's friends say, and I'm just like, it takes me a minute to catch on to it. And it's not that I'm stupid or that I'm slow. It's just, you know, the way I was raised. And sometimes you need to learn, even like those little things to like, to learn about other people's sense of humor, you know, other people's way of having a conversation and just expanding on that.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes a lot of what we say doesn't make sense. And it's okay. And it's okay. And if we're talking about different subjects and we jump around like we do, it's okay. Like, that's how you have a conversation. Like, the awesomest conversations I've had are with people that are like that they just like, and talk about this, talk about that, because it's so much to talk about, to take in, to learn, rather than just sticking to one thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's times where you have to focus on one subject. There's times where you have to just learn how to speak correctly. And sometimes even in my mind, I'm like, am I like speaking correctly? Am I enunciating my words? Am I, you know, but don't think about that. Just do it, you know, just talk. And about what you were saying about when people like put their hands up or whatever, the same thing. Just do it. You just do, like, you just,
it's just like a human thing.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like they could never see nobody in their whole life do that, but automatically it's like default.
yeah,
Like there's something behind that.
and that shows joy, that shows confidence.
You're expanding, you're not contracting. Like, contracts more like if you get hurt, it's like, but it's like, this is me. Put your chest out
Body
there.
language has a lot to do with
everything.
with expressing yourself with in front of other people as well. There's sometimes I will see, especially ladies, sometimes like whatever situation is going on in their life, like sometimes they like a little bit of confidence, and sometimes they walk with their head down. Like, have you ever seen a lady just like, you know, walking and they're just like this, they're walking with their head down, or they're somewhere, you know, you pull up at a coffee shop or wherever, and they're just like their
I've
eyesight,
seen gals
you know?
that are just so talented. They're amazing artists, you know, painters and just music or just whatever, photographers. They're just so amazing in their work, and yeah, they're just walking their head down, stuff like that. That was me as well all my life.
Everybody, yeah.
105, 115 outside. I had my black hoodie on. I was looking down. That was me. Definitely.
And that's crazy how we can go from being that way to eventually growing as people.
Breaking out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, seriously. And then it doesn't matter, you know, what your sign is, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe some of the things are true. Who knows? Geminis.
No, I don't try to argue, but
no.
it's just like,
let's see. What do I know about Geminis? I have a lot of friends that are Geminis. They like to talk. That's what I've noticed. So tell me if I'm like hitting them on the dot. Okay. Like to talk.
Hey.
They're really, really fun, but sometimes can be destructive to themselves.
Oh yeah. I've been very destructive.
Yes. They are sometimes, and it depends on who it's with. It's not necessarily that they're fake, because they're not. They're like some of the realest people that I've met. But sometimes they will have, depending on their environment, they will have one face. Okay, to react to that, and they can easily switch. Like, it's like another side of their inner.
Like different. Like, I feel like,
but it's like a self conflict. It's not like you're being fake with other people. It's just like a self. Like, it's within yourself.
Yeah, like, because into that, I kind of feel like I thought it was just a thing that men have, but the way I like to think is, for example, is. Like, as for me, my mind, I have all these little boxes. I have a box to conversate about a certain thing. I have a box when I drive. I have a box about music. I have a box of this, of everything. And when I'm in there, all I'm focuses on is that. Just everything that has to do with that. So if I'm talking to somebody else, everything changed. I'm in a different box. And I just left everything there. Like, every emotion, every memory there. And as the way I kind of think for females, it's like, females think like in one wire. all their thoughts, it's everywhere. It's not organized like in boxes. And they're always emotional. So that's why they remember everything, because every moment in time
is tied to an emotion.
You know, well, not every moment, but since they're always emotional, it's so easy to get that emotion and put it with that moment in time. Boom, create that memory. And not us, because we're in a different box. And well, at least me, I'm in a different box.
That's a good way to explain it, and hopefully nobody takes that as into offense, because I know a lot of ladies would be like, we are not one wired, honey, you know. But no, it's just a way to explain a little bit of what goes on up here, maybe in
and that's why I feel like sometimes you'll like probably say something, I'm just like, no, like, oh yeah, because it's like I'm searching, I put the title, I'm searching, and there's all these boxes with the flash, like nope, okay, here goes.
Like SpongeBob, when he had do you remember that episode where SpongeBob is like searching
90s kids?
Yeah, no, seriously, 90s kids. Okay, don't even let me get started, because I can name everything and whatever. But anyway, that's so Raven is the future I can see. Anyway, I'm too much. Okay, so back to
Own it.
SpongeBob. No, there's an episode where SpongeBob is like, I forgot where he was. Is it? I don't know if it's like in his head or somebody's head. I don't know. He was looking for the Krabby Patty recipe, or his brain was going haywire. I honestly don't remember.
Dream World?
I don't remember exactly what was happening in the episode. But he was like searching through drawers, and like he ended up, I think, burning the whole thing or whatever. And I was like, oh, so that's kind of what you're saying. Like you have a drawer that has the file for this, and you're like focused on that one thing. And people shouldn't take offense to that, you know.
I feel like that's one way of just how we work, and I feel like it's a great way of looking at it. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you could probably rate. Maybe you spoke with the guy or something, and it takes a while, and there's just like and they're like.
But you know what? Yeah. That's why women and men get along, because if you have a woman, you know, she may have a little bit more of an emotional outlook on certain things, and then she has like all these thoughts running down, and then you have a guy that just focuses on one. They complement each other. So if I'm talking to you about all these things, every single thing that I'm talking about, at least you're focusing on it in the moment. So if I'm talking about dogs, you're listening to me and you're giving me the time to talk about dogs. So your box of dogs is there, and I'm like, dogs. Yeah. And if I change my mind and I talk about something else, you're still focusing on that part. So we're complementing each other. There's no dysfunction in that, you know.
That's cool.
Unless, you know, and then the easiest thing to do is to be able to accept that that's how we work, and that, you know, it's not necessarily that we're different. It's just maybe sometimes some people process things a different way. You know, some women process things a little bit different. Some men do too. And not everybody's the same, but it's a good way of how you put it to explain kind of what goes on in the brain.
Say, girls, I got a box in my head about makeup. What's up? Give me some contour or whatever. Get that that NAR brush, that flat one that came out with the goat hairs. It came back in September 2013. That's a great contour brush, just saying.
Oh my god, I didn't mean to look at my phone, but...
Oh no, you're good.
No.
Because I don't know if it's cool with you.
Yeah.
I wanted to do, you know, a nice short Facebook Live video as well. Because this laptop is absolute, you know, it's totally old, but it's saving my files, my audio files here. We'll be getting one very soon. Hopefully, if not, I have to borrow one so I can at least be able to...
And you're editing and doing all this stuff.
Because I have a website too that my business partner is helping me with for the Prospike Experience, which will be the podcast that I'm doing, so I can put it on there.
I like that. I was gonna tell you the experience, the whole like project that you're doing. I would tell you, really, really consider like going to different places. And if you ever like want to hit me up and you're like, well, you know, what are you doing? I could be like, okay, let's go over here and like let's just like meet different people or whatever.
That's great,
honey. If you hung out with me,
like that's what we need to, like, it's as simple as that. It's like one thing that I love is like we just have to do that as folks, just connect. Let's break out. The world's so huge for us.
We could like speak to people that do music. I have, I think I might, it's not a sure thing yet, but I think I might start working at this place called Blue Martini with this band on Thursdays. they have like Latin night and whatnot, and that was something I did out of my comfort zone. I am not a salsa singer. I'm not like, somebody that I could sing in Spanish, but that's not my thing, But I was like, why not? Like, to do something different, to learn, to, you never know who you might meet. You never know where that can lead to. So on Thursdays, I might be singing there from like, I think it would be like 9 or 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. I have to still meet with the guys and like do my audition just to see if we're a good fit, because that's another thing, like you gotta go see if you're a good fit, if you can do it or whatnot. And then that would be a good thing, and it's out of my comfort zone and out of my my thing. But if you ever needed to go do something, like you can go and you can like film what's happening there, like interview people.
That'd be
like
great, because I just got my camera and I'm really working with it. Just what is this advice? Like I'm trying to get into it.
Yeah, or even if you go like, sometimes you can be like, hey, let's go out, let's go somewhere or whatever, and it's just like talk to people and like see their perspective on things. If even just as much as going to the park and just like being able to talk to people like and just have conversations, like that's always dope.
Yeah, and I actually I've been out and about in several places, and I spoke with folks, and I had folks literally start tearing,
Yes.
just because it's like nobody just ever talks, and they weren't talking about, oh, my life sucks or whatever. It just gave them so much joy.
Sometimes you just want to share what it is. It's like today I was like, you know what? I was like, it's Monday. I think I'll share, a couple things. I need to like, talk and just like go on and have, a thing. I'm the type of person that like, if I haven't seen you in years, like, I don't care. I still act like I saw you yesterday, or that I've seen you, whatever. That's the type of person I am.
Yeah, I love that. and because like, I believe we really didn't spoke. You were just people in the halls, right?
No, I think we had like a class together. It was like a math class. It was a math class. But we don't remember that much because like honestly, math to me it's like a big giant blur. And but yeah, we had a math class together.
Okay.
I had an ex-boyfriend that had some friends that knew your friends and stuff like that. So it's like, it's not like we were total strangers. We went to the same high school, obviously. But for me, it's like, even if you were a total stranger, I would treat you the same.
And I'm going to give out a small tip for folks that it's so simple, but it could go so long. Like a lot of folks, yet again, if they have fear to speak with somebody or even they know them, but it's been a long time, or for a stranger, I use the same thing. Talk to them like somebody who, of course, like somebody that for a good while. Why? Because you'll just talk with ease. So even if it's a stranger, go up to them. Like if there's a friend you already know. But of course, you'll pay attention to the way they react. So if you just in case you come a bit so strong, you'll pay attention. You'll kind of like ease off.
And
but that helps so much, of course.
Smile.
And that'll help so much. It's like I know this person, and if you just tell yourself in your mind you know that person, it's just like so easy. It's like
and not like a fake smile, but genuinely in your life, even if it's not only to meet people, please smile.
Here's a cheat code that I do is and this little cheat code helped me into being just way more happy, but here's the thing also when it comes to happiness, I look for a state. I don't look for an emotion, because it's like, because in the past, like let's say if you drink, I'll be happy, or if I get this car or I get this, yes, it's not permanent, but if you just hold a smile, your brain's going to release hormones and you'll be happy.
And that's the difference between joy and happy. Being joyful and being happy. Being happy is temporary. Being joyful, that's a long term. Okay? Because when you're feeling joy, it's a state of mind, a state of being, like you said. But when you are happy, that could be just temporary. That could be like, you bought me an iPhone. I'm sure as hell happy, but then the next 30 minutes, I already figured everything out on the iPhone.
It's like you happy once you get in a relationship and get that love high. What happens when you don't have that?
Oh my God, that is like such
love high. That's absolutely normal.
Yes,
it's absolutely normal. But the thing is, people tell me I don't want to get in a relationship because it's always good at first. divorce and then you fight. It's like, well, it's because I'm a strong believer that we have two love language. We have our primary and secondary. And there's a book I encourage everybody to buy. It's the 5 Love Languages. So that book right there pretty much talks about that. Of course, you're going to get that love high. But after love high, what happens? If you don't speak each other's primary love language, that's where it just stuff seems like it just doesn't add up because it's speaking different language.
And one thing is you have to, this is going to sound, I'm not trying to sound like, you know, like a death and bringing death or whatever into the conversation, but you have to kill yourself when you're in a relationship, and that's what a lot of people don't do. And what I mean by killing yourself is this: when you're in a relationship, there's a honeymoon stage which lasts 2 years, okay, maybe 3, but usually 2. It lasts 2 years, which everything will be happy, dandy, like you like everything about each other, you know, whatever. And then reality, that love high, and then reality eventually sets in that, you know, you have bills, that you have this, that you have to put in work, that sometimes you feel jealous, that sometimes you do this, or sometimes, you know, whatever. Sometimes somebody may mess up in the relationship. Maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend will fuck up. They will cheat on you. If you're not, you know, you're not married, that may happen. Now, the thing is, how do you move past that, or how do you make your relationship healthy, or how do you make it last, or how do you make that honeymoon stage keep going? The thing is, the honeymoon stage, there's a love language, and there's also killing yourself. When you are with somebody, you have to be putting yourself in their position and basically killing your ego. If that person's interest is hockey, but you hate hockey, honey, you better go to a hockey game with them.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's sacrifice, and that's killing yourself, your self-ego, yourself. Because some people are like, I don't need to do that. Blah, 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 blah.
Or some people is like, a guy is like, Missy, I wish you would just talk to me, spend time with me. His primary love language is that. But if you don't do that, of course, it's never going to work out. So there's a whole listening, there's a whole spending time with, there's a whole of active doing. Some people are like, I'm okay if I get home and my husband, you know, threw the trash out or did that. Those are their primary love language. As long if you're aware of that and you do it, your spouse is going to be happy. So it's a two-in thing. As long as you both speak your primary love language, everything's groovy. It's probably not going to be yours. But if it's not, I mean, you just have to accept it and do it, and then it'd be that whole fucking love high again. Because that's really what it is.
Another thing is being 100% honest with your significant other. Now, that ties into a whole lot of other things, because you have to withhold certain information when it's your own thing. Like, for example, if you made some money today, you know, you banking, whatever, it's not polite to just go and tell your significant other, or to ask your significant other how much you make. You know, that's just not polite. That's what I mean. Like, those are things you can withhold. You don't necessarily have to be like all open like that.
Checks online, just do your thing.
You know what I mean? But what you do have to be open about is habits. Be open about thoughts, emotions, what you do. Some people they lead a double life. Like, most men cannot tell their women that they go to strip clubs or that they're at a strip club with their friends, because the woman is a jealous freak. Like, she's so insecure because she's thinking, and why is she insecure? It's not just because she's tripping or that she doesn't let you go out or nothing like that. So my men don't get like that. It's because they know that you're going to a place where there's a fantasy woman that, you know, most of the time has maybe bigger boobs than her, maybe bigger butt, maybe the outside appearance, and she don't talk. She only talks to you and tells you what she wants you when she needs your money, you know? And not saying that that's not something, you know, everybody's got to do what they got to do, and some women, you know, they're single mothers, like, hey girl, do your thing. But most people that are in that business, and then, you know, maybe a stripper, whatever, with a man, that woman is gonna tell you what you want to hear to get your money, because that's her job. That is what she does for a living, to survive and to feed her kids or whatever. Okay, so then the man, the way he sees it is like, that is my ideal woman, a woman that doesn't talk, that I can do whatever I think or visualize in my mind. That's your dream, your fantasy. You know, and for that woman that's at home waiting and not knowing that you're at the strip club, if she knew you were at the strip club, why would she get jealous? Because she would be like, how can I compete with a fantasy when I'm real? You know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that. 'Cause I personally, I all that was like, because I personally, I dislike strip clubs.
No, there's some men that just don't
just
like that.
I'm all about vibes, and that's just like, it's not, it's just.
Yeah, no, I get you. But what I was trying to touch on is in that relationship aspect. Some women, like, if there's a situation where the guy is like that, and there's a lot of guys that are like that, it might not even be that. Some guys' addiction is a video game. You know why? Because they can escape into that fantasy or into that fun, into that fun place. And then for that woman or for that man, you know, because women do some stuff too. That's like, the man is like, why? You know, or why do you listen to your friends, everything they say, or whatever? You should do your own thing. You know, like, there's things that we both do, the two different sexes do, that have a reason behind why they do that. Like, your woman, if you do go to the strip club or whatever, your woman gets mad at, not at you, but just at the fact that she can't compete with that fantasy, that she feels like, hey, I'm real, I have flaws, like, I don't, you know, maybe, you know. And some men would be like, well, then you could, you know, put yourself on some nice undies and, like, you know, dance for me then. I mean, that is true, but not all women have that level of confidence because of where they come from or what they do. So you as a man, you know, and if it was the other way around as well, you as a man, what you can do is, like, give your woman some confidence, man. Just, like, in the morning, be like, hey, babe, you look good. You know, or like, hey, you know, like, I'm so proud of you for doing this. Because the more you push yourself up, after that 2 year of the honeymoon stage, when you push your significant other up, and you give off, you're gonna tell them when they're messing up, and you're gonna tell them the negative, but you also gotta, you know, pump them up. When you start doing that to each other, you're gonna be growing, and the relationship that lasts and that can withstand those, you know, obstacles, those hard times, is the relationship that helps each other grow, and that learns how to listen, how to forgive, and how to, what you said about it being a love language. Learning that love language. And
because I can, for example, like, I only had one girl ever. It first took me 300 rejections for my first yes, but I can't necessarily say, oh, she used me because that's when I was getting money. So, because there's so much to it. Although it seemed like that. But the thing is, my primary love language is quality time. Like, I always wanted to spend time with her. I always wanted to be with her. But that wasn't hers. That was her primary. So even though, like, now that I know this, like, even though, you know, things happen, it's after the love high, it still wasn't going to work out.
Some people,
unless I had this knowledge and then I spoke her primary love language.
Some people you have to give them space, though. Some people you do. You can't just hog somebody. You can't just spend your whole time, because that's the healthiest thing to do, to be your own person and to do your own thing, and then come and do something together. But you have to be on that same level of understanding, you know. And if that person is not in that level with you, you need to walk away. That's just, it's the hardest thing to do, especially when, you know, there's certain situations and certain things that come into play. Like, you know, you may be with somebody that was a certain way and then they changed. Well, that's the thing. You have to take the time to go back and see what made them change. What am I doing? Sometimes it's not even just that person. What are you doing wrong? Sometimes as a woman, if you're not expressing yourself, you're pushing that man away.
We always got to analyze ourselves in two perspectives always. That's very healthy. It's a good habit.
Exactly. And that's just a way to, like, make your relationships last and to, you know, be confident with yourself, because at the end of the day, we build relationships, whether it be love relationships, it could be a friendship. It takes two people to have a friendship. Come on now. Like, if you don't call me, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes two people to have a friendship. It takes two people to work at a relationship. It's a lot of killing yourself when you have relationships, because you have to lower that ego. You have to, maybe my best friend likes computers and I hate computers or something, but the thing is, if she has a new program that she's doing or he's doing, like, I go and I support that person. Because we can support, how come we can support, you know, artists or we can support, you know, products or endorse products or whatever, but we can't support our friends.
You can't be too selfish. It's like, because I like that, I'll support it. If I don't like it, no. It's like, no, it ain't gonna work like that. Because if you're coming from that state as well, then I'm pretty sure you're coming from the state of support me. You know, I will.
You're just thinking about yourself, basically. So the point of that is just, in order to have a healthy relationship in any way, shape, or form, you have to kill yourself. Not kill yourself literally, but just lower that ego, that wall of like, I want, give me. I deserve, because sometimes you don't deserve shit, and you have to acknowledge that. Sometimes you didn't really do nothing. Why you want to?
I feel that's a process to undo that, because yet again, it's everything you do in life is a habit, and you create that habit.
It is, but you can undo habits.
Oh yeah,
you can
change your routine.
It takes a long time. If you do something for more than 2 weeks, it becomes a habit. So undo it for 2 weeks, and it'll start.
Yeah, because the way I see it, you know, it's a book, The Power of Habit, that I read, and that really, I then was able to understand it through that book. So pretty much, there's 3 steps. There's a cue or a trigger, your routine, and your reward. Once you get all 3, it's stored like forever in your bezel going there. There's people who have memory loss, but they still do the things like, whoa, they can't remember. They reset every 2 minutes, yet they can remember this. Yeah, it's forever stored there. So
that's true.
And that's literally the way it is.